Hello and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 126th Blue Hills Virtual Seminar. Blue Hills Virtual Seminar is a platform that allows healthcare professionals to discuss current management updates of different health-related topics for better patient care. And today's virtual seminar is brought to you by Blue Hills Ethiopia with International Society of Sexual Medicine as part of their global outreach initiative in improving sexual health in Ethiopia. Blue Hills Ethiopia is a medical consultancy company founded by medical doctors and a computer engineer, and we aim to be an influential healthcare leader in creating skilled communities through easily accessible knowledge in preventive medicine. And I'm your host, Dr. Iheno Tadela from Blue Hills Ethiopia and member of International Society of Sexual Medicine. So today it's a pleasure to have Dr. Selam Bogale here with us to have a presentation on HIV/AIDS in Ethiopia 2025, the prevention, treatment, and stigma reduction. Dr. Selam is an internist and infectious disease fellow at Addis Ababa University with clinical teaching and research experience in infectious disease, antimicrobial resistance, and digital health. He earned his medical degree from Jimma University in 2011 and specialized in internal medicine at Addis Ababa University in 2021 and began his fellowship training in infectious diseases in 2024. He has served as assistant professor at Yekatit Charlotte Hospital Medical College, where he coordinated HIV and TB clinics, chaired the antimicrobial stewardship program, and acted as focal person for viral hepatitis. Dr. Salam has published studies on septic shock, hepatitis B, antimicrobial resistance, and HIV-related undernutrition, with works appearing in scientific reports like the Lancet and Microbe. He has collaborated with WHO and Ethiopia's Ministry of Health in antimicrobial stewardship and training programs, and with the Armor Hansen Research Institute in laboratory safety and infectious diseases research. Beyond his academic achievements, he leads digital health initiatives, developing mobile health applications and producing public health education videos. So, Dr. Salam, the stage is all yours. You can begin.
Okay. Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Blue Health and all the teams here for giving me this opportunity to share because, always presenting is a big opportunity for me because I learn a lot in the process. It is very nice to collaborate with you and nice to see you all. I know some of you on the meeting link, so good evening, everyone. So today we are going to talk about HIV/AIDS. And I will focus mainly on prevention and that's going to be my main area. And I will say a few things about what is new regarding treatment and the stigma as well. And we'll start obviously with an introduction. So we'll proceed. Okay. So these are the outlines of my presentation. We'll have a brief introduction on the current local and global burden, as well as prevention, treatment, stigma, and finally I will summarize and we'll go through the Q&A. ይታያል አይደል ስላይዱ? It's visible.
Yes, Doc, it's visible.
Yeah, so we'll proceed like this. So this is UNAIDS and WHO. So currently we do have around 40 million people globally living with HIV. And each year, around 1.3 million new infections occur. This is a big number. New infections are still high. It is a marked reduction from the past decades, but still we have a lot of assignment to reduce this infection rate. The other thing is more than 600,000 people are still dying from HIV. As you can see, the estimates are variable from 490 up to 820. So still, there is more than 500,000 people still are dying from HIV, which is currently managed with just one tablet a day. Okay, so this is this shows we need to do a lot in this regard. Let's know. And majority of these cases, uh, the prevalence, new infections as well as deaths occur in sub-Saharan Africa, obviously, and children account also for 1.5 million total cases and around 75,000 annual deaths. So this is the current global situation. So globally, we do have a target that we call the 395s, 95, 95, 95, 395s. The first is, agree to identify 95% of patients who are HIV positive. And then to treat 95% of those whom we have identified. And the third 95 is to suppress the viral load of 90% of those whom we started ቴራፒ ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ ስንቀንሰው ከቶታሉ 95 90 86 አካባቢ ይሆናል። but we call it 395. So this is the global target that we should achieve that we should have achieved by now ማለት ነው። Let's see the data of 2024. So so the first 95, that means among HIV patients, 88% of adults know their status. It means 12% of HIV patients do not know their status ማለት ነው. This is variable. It depends on the setting. In some countries it is higher and in some countries it's lower, and it also varies across different strata of the population depending on whether you live in urban setting, rural setting, and various other determinants, socio-economic determinants of health ማለት ነው። So 88% ላይ ነን. We haven't achieved the 95 target. We don't know 12% of HIV patients ማለት ነው. This number is very low in children. It is 63% only in children. So we miss a lot of children who are HIV positive. This is very unfortunate. The number is even lower in our country. We will so reversing this into numbers, like to identify the first 95, to identify 95% of HIV patients, we need to diagnose additional 3.2 million people who are hanging around with the virus, but knowing it and spreading it and progressing into a clinical illness ማለት ነው. So we need globally, we need to test and include in the care around 3 million people. So the number of pale HIV will be higher ማለት ነው. So this is a data that shows us that we still in the 21st century, with all the resources, we are left with a lot of assignments, especially in children as well ማለት ነው. Okay, so in the second one, so this is just a diagnosis, and the second 95 is among those who are diagnosed. How many of the patients have are on treatment? የሚለውን ነው ይሄ አንሰር የሚያደርገው ማለት ነው። So the second 95, how many of the people who are HIV positive on ART? So the answer is 78%. So we among the 95%, we have identified only 8% of adults globally are on ART, on any form of ART ማለት ነው. If you see this number for children, it is only 55%. Okay, እኛ ሀገርም ያው ሪዛልቱ more similar ነው children ላይ. There is a very huge gap in initiating therapy among certain groups ማለት ነው. So this is still a problem because the presence of this shows us like not treating 22% shows that the virus still has a huge chance to spread ማለት ነው. So this is very key. It shows the public health importance of HIV still ማለት ነው. So the third one is among those who are on treatment, how many percent of the patients have a suppressed viral load, which is one of the primary endpoints of HIV therapy. So for adults, it is 74%. And for children, it is only 47%. So only this much number, less than 50% of children do have suppressed viral load ማለት ነው. For adults, this number is higher, that is 74%. This is the global data by WHO and UNAIDS. So this is a graph that shows the incidence and deaths of HIV starting from the early 90s, as you can see. Am I audible? I'm audible, yeah?
Yes, doctor, you're
Okay.
audible. Continue.
So as you can see, the incidence of new cases peaked around the late 90s to the early 2000s, and subsequently it started to drop after 2005. Okay, so in HIV therapy or in ART in general, 2005 is an era that many people remember, people who have been practicing at that time, as well as people who were HIV infected before this time ማለት ነው, because it is at this time that we started to use ART for free, combined ART for free available የሆነ 2005 ላይ ነው። አሁን combined ART was started in 1996 at a Vancouver conference using triple medications to suppress viral load was started globally in 1996, but I mean in the most parts of the Western countries, but it became freely available in 2005 by the support of the US President Fund ማለት ነው, PEPFAR Fund started delivering in 2005. So that's why you will see sharp reduction in days as well as in incidence ማለት ነው. Obviously when days increases, decreases, and when the infection is still there, as you can see, the slopes are variable. The prevalence of the virus, obviously, it's not shown here, but will increase, and now we do have around 14 million people who are HIV positive globally. So don't forget 2005. In Ethiopia also, like before this time, there was no free combined ART, and people get ART at black market, even not a combined ART, even like single medications or two medications, they buy with expensive, with a lot of money, and the medications were actually not very effective and had a lot of side effects before this time ማለት ነው. So this is the magic here in ART medication. So coming to Ethiopia, this is a report. So እንግዲህ Ethiopian Public Health Institute in collaboration with partners and Ministry of Health releases annual estimate and projection for the next year. So we'll just see the estimate that's more likely to be more accurate than the projection. This one was published in June 2005. So it is important when you see any data regarding especially HIV or any disease, actually, you should know how the data is collected. So this data that EPHI and the Ministry of Health release are not population-based demographic and health survey screenings. Okay, these are, they get it from like ANC follow-up surveys and all those sources, and they use a software and mathematical model to estimate. That's why it's called estimation. Okay, ልክ እንደ ዲሞግራፊክ ሄልት ሰርቬይ ሰርቴን ሴግመንት ኦፍ ፖፑሌሽን ኦል ኦፍ ፖፑሌሽን ቴስት ተደርጎ ይሄን ያህል ነው አይባልም ማለት ነው። ሶ ዊ ሹድ ኢንተርፕሪቴሽን ላይ ይሄን ማሰብ አለብን ማለት ነው። ዊ ሃቭ ቱ ቢልድ ዲስ ኢንቱ ኮንሲደሬሽን ዌን ዊ ኢንተርፕሬት ዚስ ዳታ ቢኮዝ ዘ አይዲያል ውድ ቢ ጀስት to by the demographic and health survey to go house to house, test people, and just tell that there we do have this number of patients. This study or these reports are not done via that method ማለት ነው። Usually ከANC and other data and registries in the HIV clinic and others and we'll enter all those data and use mathematical models. Actually, the mathematical models and the softwares are approved by UNAIDS, and that's how they estimate. Anyways, so the prevalence is usually we report it among adults between the ages of 15 and 49, because this is the age where we do have many of our patients, and so it is 0.67% nationally. Nationally, it is 0.67%, and in male, it is 0.4%, and in females, it is twice this number. It is 0.92%. So females are twice more affected by HIV in Ethiopia. The prevalence is twice more in females than in males who are in the reproductive age group ማለት ነው. So in 2024, there were more than 600,000 people who are HIV positive, and annually there are close to 8,000 new infections uh, in the country ማለት ነው. Remember, this doesn't mean the number of HIV patients who get into HIV care, because new infections means these are people who acquired the disease during this time. It doesn't include like those people who know their HIV status or who were infected the previous years ማለት ነው. So this is important, because at this if you I have heard that the number of people who get into HIV care each year is around 35 to 40,000 each year ማለት ነው. So around 35 to 35 to 40,000 people get into HIV care annually ማለት ነው. But when you do recency tests, there is a test that it's not our topic today, and this is actually phasing out, but you can know when the person got infected ማለት ነው by the recency test. So the estimation is for those people who are recently infected. Yeah, this is important because most of you are in the clinical practice, and you may say that the burden is still the same, not decreasing from the previous reports of 0.8, and the cases are more and like that. So you have to bear this into consideration. These are just new infections. So deaths are close to 10,000 ones. No? So almost the 90, according to this report, the targets, the 95 targets are achieved actually. HIV is a very successful program ማለት ነው. But the problem is in children. It's not my area of expertise, just to show you. The 395 were like 52, 81, and 92. So we know only 52% of children who are HIV infected patients in our system ማለት ነው. So almost half of the children are not diagnosed ማለት ነው. So this is a huge number, but initiation of medication and suppression is relatively fair, even though the target is not achieved. So there is a huge thing, a huge gap in pediatric HIV care in the country in general. So this is maybe for those of you who are interested in that area, it is one area of quality improvement. Right. So I think subsequently, so this is the data that we rely from EPHI to talk about the national prevalence. But in the subsequent years, the demographic and health survey is going to include HIV. So we are going to have more accurate data than this one in the subsequent years. So you know this, there is no need to go through this. So currently we use a three-step approach to diagnose HIV ማለት ነው. So someone has to go through three tests to be called that that person is HIV positive. Okay, so I just mentioned this because one thing that determines whether we use two-step or three-step is the epidemiology of the virus. Maybe if some of you who have been practicing for maybe 7 or 6 before 7 or 8 years ago, it was only two-step. Like before 10 years, it was just two-step: test 1, test 2, then positive, negative, negative. Okay, so when the population prevalence falls below 1%, in some countries they say put this number to 3, but in general, when it is lower than 1%, you use these three steps ማለት ነው. But if the prevalence is very high, especially if it is above 3% in the general population, you just only use three steps ማለት ነው. Okay? Because when the national prevalence decreases, we are afraid of false positive tests አይደል? prevalence በጣም ትንሽ ከሆነ if the prevalence is very low, the odds of someone being positive when you test it is low. So you have to make sure that you use robust tests with higher and higher specificity to actually be confident that the patient actually have HIV ማለት ነው. So this is maybe you can revise statistics, and this is how it is determined ማለት ነው. So this is the approach. Maybe this year there is one new thing that is introduced in the HIV workup. So as you know እንግዲህ HIV infection, the complications, the OIs are very predictable based on the CD4 count. So for a while, CD4 count availability was a little bit tough. So they came up with this test known as Vistectman. So it is a rapid test that you can even do at the bedside without anything. You can just take a sample of the patient. It looks like the HIV diagnostic kit. It is semi-quantitative, and we'll see its accuracy. So it is new, so we have to check the sensitivity, specificity, and whether it misclassifies or not Milan. We'll review one article published in a reputable journal. So from now on, in most of our patients, when you send CD4, it comes as below 200 or above 200 ማለት ነው. So this test in studies, the sensitivity is 92%. So it is 92% sensitive, but the specificity is low. It is 61% only. But for a test to be approved by WHO for rapid diagnostic test, if the sensitivity reaches 80%, it is enough. That is the cutoff point that WHO uses as a criteria to approve a certain test for rapid diagnostic ማለት ነው. That's why it is approved, and then we are currently using it. It is actually being used in many other African countries as well. So it usually takes around 45 minutes. አካባቢ ነው የሚወስደው. It takes 45 minutes, so it doesn't need electric. It doesn't need any other flow cytometry method that we used before. So it reaches very fast. So this is a study that was published this year on the Journal of Infectious Disease. It is a disease a journal of Infectious Disease Society of America and Oxford. So you can see in this table how this misclassifies patients ማለት ነው. So what we want from this test is to pick those patients who do have advanced HIV disease, okay? Advanced HIV disease or CD4 count below 200. So that's what we want this test to do for us. So if it is good when the CD4 count is low, that's good. That's enough, because OIs depend on the CD4 count. So in this study, they compare the traditional quantitative versus the new one, and they put the percentage of misclassification. So as you can see, for those patients who do have a CD4 count between 0 and 100, the misclassification is 4.5%. 4.5%, and it ranges between 2 to 7%. So more than 95% of the patients with an actual CD4 between 0 and 100 are accurately classified based on this test as having a CD4 count below 100. But as the CD4 count increases, you can see the risk of misclassification increases ማለት ነው. So ምንድነው ከዚህ what we understand from this is when the test tells you that the patient has a low CD4 count, okay, a low CD4 count, ሶ ሞር ላይክሊ ሚስክላሲፊኬሽን የመሆን እንትኑ ይቀንሳል ማለት ነው። ዚስ ኢዝ ኢምፖርታንት ቱ ኮንሲደር ማለት ነው። ሶ ሚስክላሲፋይ የሚያደርገው አሚን ሚስክላሲፊኬሽኑ ሎ የሚሆነው አናክቹዋሊ ሎ ሲዲ4 ካውንት ስለሆነ ሪላይ እናደርጋለን እዚህ ላይ ማለት ነው። በት ስቲል ያው ኢት ኢዝ ኖት ኤ ቬሪ አኪሬት ቴስት ኢት ኢዝ ኖት ቤዝድ ኦን RCT ባይ ዘ ዌይ ዜር ኢዝ ኖ RCT comparing these are just observational studies. Anyways, we are currently using it and so we'll see how things unfold ማለት ነው። So I will go to the second part of the presentation. So the second part, I will focus mainly, this is the main focus of my presentation, prevention. As we have seen, more than 1.3 million new infections occur each year, and in certain groups of populations, especially it is very high. ለምሳሌ አሁን እኛ ሀገር we think like people who use injectable or injection drugs is rare or something that we don't see, but it's increasing and it's more common. And in this group of people, like maybe 30-40% of those will have HIV and Hep C. Okay, so certain groups of population are high risk to have, sorry, to have a high risk of acquiring the virus. So we need preventive armamentum, and in the national strategic plan that spans till 2016, prevention is one pillar of the national HIV strategic plan ላይ ማለት ነው። So እንግዲህ I just classified it into 5 for A's. So prevention of HIV has evolved in the beginning, when the pandemic started, ABCs were the preventive approach. You tell people to abstain, be faithful, or use condoms. Then subsequently, early therapy, viral suppression results. We understood that suppressing the virus will decrease transmission. Or if an HIV patient has an undetectable viral load, the risk of that person to transmit to the partner is low, almost zero ማለት ነው። So undetected equals to untransmitted. So one of the goals of ART therapy is to decrease transmission or to prevent spread of the disease ማለት ነው። So this is the next thing that we understood ማለት ነው. Because previously in olden times initially there were many criteria to start ART, like the CD4 initially has to be below 200, below 350, then 500 and like that. Okay, ከዛ በኋላ ነው ከ2016 አካባቢ በኋላ we treat everybody, and this has resulted in marked decrement in new infections ማለት ነው. So we use therapy of infected patients for prevention ማለት ነው. So U equals to U. This is good for the patients because it motivates them. When you tell someone, a husband or a wife, that if they have undetectable viral loads, they will not transmit it, they will be motivated to take the ART. Okay, so this is key ማለት ነው. So subsequently, we had PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis for certain patient, non-HIV infected individuals with a very high risk of having HIV ማለት ነው. So we classify them on into different groups, and the grouping is based on risk ማለት ነው. So when we say that someone has a high risk of getting HIV, it means 3 per 100 per year follow-up and above HIV infection and group ላይ ካለ, so if the risk of getting HIV is more than 3 per 100 per year of follow-up, that person is considered to be at high risk and should take PrEP ማለት ነው. So we do have in our country TDF and 3TC, tenofovir and lamivudine single tablet that high risk people can take daily, and it prevents HIV. Okay, so we give for serodiscordant people and commercial sex workers ማለት ነው. But it is expanding. አሁን ምንድነው ሪስክ እንግዲህ getting HIV risk is variable አይደል እና people usually it is something that we keep as a secret አይደል people don't share these things እና in some countries it is very expanded so in our country we use discordant couple commercial discordant ሆነው with the partner having unsuppressed viral load and not taking for more than 6 months ከሆነ we give them commercial sex workers we give them and people who use injection drug use are also candidates but in other countries it is being expanded a lot so when anyone asks you for PrEP you have to offer ይላሉ ሌላ ሀገር ማለት ነው ኦኬ because they know the risk factor አይደል ሰውየው ራሱ ነው ወይም ሴትዮዋ ራሷ ናት የምታውቀው እና ስለዚህ it has to be open for everybody but the problem is adherence so it is you are HIV negative, you don't have any disease, and you have to take a pill every day to prevent the disease, okay? So adherence is, in real world experience, it is very low. The medications are very effective, but because of adherence, the effectiveness is very low, especially in heterosexual people. So they kept on exploring more and the next stage is cabotegravir injection. This is cabotegravir is like dolutegravir. Structurally, it is similar, but it is a little bit weaker and more prone for resistance. Anyways, it's structurally it is similar to dolutegravir, and it is available. Hey, this is a picture that I took from one of the health centers. In Ethiopia, it is being piloted, not in the routine practice. So it is being piloted in selected health centers. And they are giving for high risk individuals ማለት ነው so this it is given IM in the gluteal muscle you get it twice every 2 months so they call it cabla long acting cabotegravir so subsequently we have this newer medication ማለት ነው then recently there was a breaking news አይደል breaking news that you all have heard lenacapavir given every 6 months subcutaneously prevented HIV almost in 100% of those patients who were in the study ማለት ነው 100% prevention of a certain infection even you cannot get it with the vaccine አይደል vaccine ራሱ እንደዛ አናገኝም so this was a magic bullet and it is given subcutaneously every 6 months imagine now even they are thinking to give it to make it annual anyways it is approved by FDA to be given every 6 months and it prevents HIV like 100% you don't get it so HIV prevention has evolved this way and we have reached to an era where you give someone subcutaneous injectable medication every 6 months and it prevents HIV 100% this is great okay this is great so እኛ ሀገር ላይ we do have PrEP PO as I have said TDF and 3TC we do have cabotegravir but this is on a pilot phase and I hope in the near future we are going to have it ማለት ነው I will this is not hope but I will show you why I say this እንግዲህ from the first ይሰማል am I audible
Yes, Doc, you're audible.
sorry apologies so let's see how it progressed from the oral one, the oral pre-exposure prophylaxis that we have into the current one. So this is a study. There are many different studies done in different parts of Africa, sub-Saharan countries. This is a study published in 2022, a systematic and meta-analysis of 15 RCTs with more than 25,000 participants and diverse population. So diverse population, and you see that there is high relative risk reduction ማለት ነው so relative risk reduction it is very high but it is variable ማለት ነው as you can see here in heterosexual male and female relative risk is 0.77 that means it decreases by 33% ማለት ነው አይደል 33% ይቀንሳል ሴሮዲስኮርዳንት ላይ ግን 75% reduction አለው MSM ላይ 75% reduction አለው and in patients PIWID ማለት patients who use injectable drugs 49% ሪዳክሽን አለው ማለት ነው። ሶ እዚህ ጋር እንግዲህ ከሁሉም ግሩፕ ላይ ደ ሎወስት የሆነው የትኛው ነው ማለት ነው? is in heterosexual male and female. Okay, one of the main reasons is adherence. Effectiveness is mainly affected by adherence in this group of people, because here you can see among serodiscordant heterosexuals, relative risk reduction is 75%, but here it is 33% only, because those who are serodiscordant will be more careful and will take it daily and will be more adherent. ለዚህ ነው the other issue is the drug availability in various mucosa is variable in the rectal area, in the vaginal area, in the penile area, variability የተወሰነ አለው that's why it is variable ማለት ነው especially in females heterosexual females lower የሚሆንበት አንዱ ሪዝን ይሄ ነው ተብሎ ይታሰባል but adherence is a big issue the significant factor is adherence ማለት ነው so oral PrEP has a good statistically significant relative risk reduction according to this meta-analysis of more than 15 studies with more than 25,000 people. But still in heterosexuals, relative risk reduction is low, and as you can see, the confidence interval crosses 1, and it is not very statistically significant ማለት ነው so subsequently እንግዲህ that's why they kept on exploring አይደል they kept on exploring and this is there are two studies that tried cabotegravir injection that we are piloting in selected health centers in this study it is a phase 3 study that compared injectable cabotegravir versus tenofovir FTC. FTC ማለት ያው ኢንትሪስታቢን ነው። it is similar to lamivudine. They are similar. Structurally, functionally, resistance wise, effectiveness wise, they are similar. So the oral daily PrEP versus the injectable cabotegravir. So more than 3,000 participants were included in this study. As you can see, HIV incidence was very low, 0.2 cases per 100% per year among those on cabotegravir injection versus 36 in the TDF ማለት ነው so significantly statistically significant ነው so cabotegravir was seen to be to decrease incidence cases of HIV than TDF ማለት ነው so this is done in sub-Saharan Africa 7 sub-Saharan African countries and most of the patients are in heterosexual individuals ማለት ነው so cabotegravir became superior and the standard of care ማለት ነው standard of care cabotegravir after this HPTN O84 study የሚባል ነው ማለት ነው before this there was HPTN O83 but that was done only in MSM and like that okay this one is done in women okay the 83 the O83 was done in MSM they tried this one in females ማለት ነው okay then subsequently from cabotegravir እንግዲህ now cabotegravir is given every 2 months injection ነው የሚሰጠው it is better than taking daily TDF and 3TC ማለት ነው አንደኛ you don't have to take it daily it is given every 2 months so it is important but the problem is the injection is IM and it's very painful it's very painful some of the people they just take it once or twice and then they revert or something ማለት ነው that is one problem that we have seen among patients who are taking cabotegravir for short we call it cabla then the magic drug came and the studies were called purpose 1 and purpose 2 study purpose 2 study is the one that was done in heterosexual females because there is another purpose 2 trial and it is a phase 3 study in young women in Uganda as well as in South Africa and lenacapavir is given every 6 months subcutaneously and it was compared with tenofovir FTC versus TDF FTC ስለዚህ 3 ኮምፓራተር ነው ያለው ማለት ነው and there were more than 5,000 participants involved and in this society the annual HIV infection in 100 people is 2.4 cases ማለት ነው። ስለዚህ each year 2.4 of the 100
Yes, sir.
okay, so you can see here the background rate is high, 2.4, and in the lenacapavir there was no infection. It was 100% efficient in preventing the incidence of HIV in this purpose one study ማለት ነው. And you can see in TAF FTC, and it is high, it is above 2, and in TAF in TDF FTC it is a bit lower, but the statistical difference between the two is not significant. So you can see the significant effect of lenacapavir. Okay, the main reason that these medications don't work is not because of the efficacy. The main reason is adherence. Adherence was very poor in these patients. If maybe the purpose of this seminar is not the journal, to review the journal, but if you I suggest you revise it, and you will see that the adherence is very low. But this one is given every 6 months subcutaneous, so adherence is not going to be an issue. So subsequently it was ሰምታችኋል in last maybe 2 months, I don't know መሰለኝ, FDA has approved lenacapavir injection subcutaneous for HIV prevention in everyone above 35 kilograms ማለት ነው. Okay, by the way, lenacapavir was approved in 2022 as a salvage therapy for ART, like RVI patients who had failed virologically and who have taken NSTIs like DTG and protease inhibitors and others. This is used as a salvage therapy in 2020 for prevention on approved, you know. So they have been using it as a salvage therapy for selected group of patients starting from 2022. It is a capsid inhibitor. And subsequently, this is the 2025 WHO recommendation for HIV. The full guideline will be released next year. So long-acting injectable lenacapavir should be offered as an additional prevention choice for people at risk of HIV as part of combination preventive approach ማለት ነው. So as you can see here, ያው additional እና combination therapy ነው። ያው the others ABC should be continued, but you don't have to use two medications together, or two injectable or one injectable NPO concomitantly use ማድረግ አያስፈልግም ማለት ነው። So HIV is funded by the global fund. The ARTs that our patients get, the viral load, the CD4, everything is free because of the funding from the global fund. And the global fund has acquired money for to deliver lenacapavir for selected low and middle income countries, and among this is Ethiopia. So this is a news release on July the 9th of 2025. This is a good news for us. So we may have it via the global fund program, but with all the uncertainties in the global arena, you cannot predict. Anyways, we hope that we will have it soon. We should have it. Actually, it is the best thing that we do have to prevent HIV until now. So this medication is a capsid inhibitor. So it is a novel medication, and it has multiple actions. ARTዎች ብዙ ጊዜ reverse transcriptase is reverse transcriptase. It doesn't have any other job. Protease inhibitors are protease inhibitor, but this one has multiple jobs. Okay, so initially, the capsid, the P24 antigen covers RNA and the enzymes. This is the basic structure, and it alters many things here. አንደኛ the virus has to be reverse transcribed and then enter as a DNA into the nucleus. It alters entry of the virus into the nucleus ማለት ነው። attachment of the capsid with the nuclear membrane decrease ያደርጋል፣ ትራንስፖርቱን decrease ያደርጋል ማለት ነው። integration ላይም some effect አለው። it also has effect on the assembly of the virus, release of the virus, and even after the capsid is assembled, the capsid will not be will have an abnormal structure. So ሬፕሊኬቲቭ ኮምፒተንት አይሆንም። አሚን ኒው ሴሎችን ላይ ኢዝሊ ኢንፌክት አያደርግም። ኢት ዳዝንት ኢንፌክት ኒው ሴልስ ኢዝሊ ማለት ነው። ኦኬ ሶ ኢት ሃዝ መልቲፕል አክሽንስ ማለት ነው ፍሮም ኢንሂቢቲንግ ኢንትሪ ኢንቱ ዘ ኒውክለስ ሃቪንግ አን አብኖርማል capsid structure, deranged release of the virus, and even it makes it incompetent to enter into new cells and infect them ማለት ነው። so it acts in multiple sites. so ያው multiple sites ላይ affects effects ስላለው this is one of the reasons why it has many it has high efficacy ማለት ነው። okay it is important to know this. You can read the details of the mechanism. It is very interesting. This is important. The other thing is it is unique, so there is no cross resistance between any other class of ART medication. And of note, ART resistance when test is ordered, usually it is the pollen that is tested, but for this one it's going to be the IMF, okay? But this is not very important for now. So saying this, እንግዲህ we do have good news አይደል? We do have good news, but it comes with a challenge. Okay, the first one is an access. As I have said, access is very key. The Global Fund has gotten in July, and the WHO has approved it. So FDA and WHO have both approved it. So it's going to be available in low and middle income countries. The other challenge is demand creation. I think for us, this is going to be the big challenge. So selecting for whom we should give is very important. Obviously, the commercial sex workers, discordant couple, those people usually come for care. It is people whom we think are not at risk or who don't come saying that they are at risk are the ones who get the virus. Okay, so demand creation is very important, and I think if it is available for anyone who feels like he or she is at risk, should get these medications, because people we are not very honest about everything in our life. So this is important to create awareness and create demand based on availability. Prioritize እያደረግን ነው የምንሰጠው. It should be cascaded from those with high risk to intermediate and then to lower. Okay, because availability is an issue ማለት ነው. So in general, serodiscordant people, commercial sex workers, people who use injectable drug use, those with multiple sexual partners, and other factors that will make them susceptible should have a chance for this one. So in PrEP the most important thing is adherence. Injectable every 2 months or every 6 months ሲባል it doesn't mean that the person will always come every 2 months or every 6 months on schedule. So adherence is going to be an issue. For the oral PrEP, as I have said, they are very effective, but the problem is the adherence. So with the injectable, they are more effective in the clinical trial setting, but in real world setting, still with the injectables, people may not come every 2 months. So we have to have ways to synchronize with other healthcare programs. For example, females, for example, come for contraception, for injectable contraception. So you can sync it with that one. Okay. The other group at risk include also pregnant ladies, by the way. I have forgotten to say this. So adherence is an issue, and social barriers are also very difficult. People እንግዲህ so when someone takes this PrEP, he or she is saying that he or she is at risk. It might cause stigma, and people might be afraid and to come out and to take this medication. So we have to break this chain. The other thing is it causes diagnostic challenge. Maybe some other day we'll discuss it. Diagnostic challenge, but before every injection, every patient should be tested for HIV. Okay, because the medications are not 100% effective. The oral, the Kabla are not effective, and a medication that is effective in the clinical trial setting might not be 100% as effective in the real world setting. So some people may get breakthrough infections, and diagnosis may be challenging because if, for example, you are giving a patient cabotegravir or TDF and 3TC, and if someone gets the virus, they're basically taking an ineffective ART አይደል? ስለዚህ their viral load may not be as high as someone who is not taking, and diagnosis might be delayed አይደል? There are different challenges anyways. Before every injection, for the injectable ones, people should be tested. And for those taking the oral medications, every 2 to 3 months they have to get tested ማለት ነው, depending on the risk. There is also a risk of resistance development if you get infected while taking these medications. But currently we do have drugs with high barrier for resistance, high genetic barrier for resistance. So this again is not going to be a very big problem, but we should mention it. The other thing is adverse drug effects events are important. For the cabotegravir, I have seen in one health center that the people who take it, they really suffer from severe pain. No? Usually after the second dose, they opt not to continue. So this is going to be a problem, okay? So it is worth mentioning. So going to the third part, I'm not going to take more than 10 or 15 minutes. So WHO እንግዲህ has released a short brief report. The full guideline is going to come next year, but the first line medication is not going to change. TDF DTG is going to continue as a first line medication, and TDF is going to be used even in those who have used it before. So it should be, it could be recycled even in those patients who have, for example, let's say someone was taking TDF 3TC and efavirenz 7 years ago discontinued and came here, you can give him TDF, him or her TDF 3TC and DTG ማለት ነው. So it is, you can recycle it and it is effective, okay? The other thing is when this regimen fails, we go for protease inhibitor, and the best protease inhibitor among the currently available is darunavir, which is ritonavir boosted. We do have atazanavir, and lopinavir is almost out now. Atazanavir will also decrease. So darunavir is the one that we use as a third line, is going to come up front ማለት ነው. Okay, this is important. Another new thing, the third thing is a new thing. So for patients with a viral load that is sustainably suppressed, modification can be done, or simplification of the regimen can be done. One of the simplifications is giving injectable medication, the injectable medication cabotegravir and rilpivirine injection, monthly injection can be given. So that is one important new thing ማለት ነው። So cabotegravir ያው ኢንስታይን ነው። ሬልፒቪሪን it is non nucleoside reverse transcriptase inhibitor ነው። ልክ እንደ ኢፋቪሬንስ ኔቪራፒል ማለት ነው። And it is not a very strong drug as a PO medication, and it has all like dietary requirements and like that, but they prepared it in an injectable for those patients who are who have been on effective oral ART and have a suppressed viral load. You can shift them to this monthly cabotegravir and rilpivirine injection ማለት ነው. Okay, so this is one new thing. Okay, so this is important. Imagine someone who was taking DTG and I mean 1J or TLD daily and have a suppressed viral load for a year or two, and then you shift that person to a monthly injectable medication. It will be easier. So it's going to be a very good option for selected individuals ማለት ነው. So you can give cabotegravir rilpivirine monthly injection for selected patients እንደ ኦፕሽን ተቀምጧል. But I don't think this is going to come to us because yeah, there are many issues. Okay, so this is one study. So they did a trial. So they selected new patients who are diagnosed with HIV and no treatment experience and having an HIV viral load greater than 1,000 copies and no hepatitis B and no resistance for non-nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitors because rilpivirine is an NRTI, non-nucleotide reverse transcriptase inhibitor now. So they started all the patients in this study uh, with DTG, abacavir, and 3TC. So subsequently, after around 6 months, when the viral load is suppressed, they classified them into two groups. The one group continued with daily oral DTG, abacavir, 3TC, and after 6 months after suppression, the other group uh, started monthly injection of cabotegravir and rilpivirine. Uh, so monthly injection, and the study compared these two, whether this monthly injection is non-superior to this standard therapy ማለት ነው. Actually, it is proven to be non-inferior. Okay, and then there are also other studies, and it was subsequently approved by FDA for treatment of optimization in selected patients. For example, some patients may not take daily iron, so may prefer to take monthly injection. They are not combined medication; they are separate. Okay, so you have to have two injections every month ማለት ነው. You can come once and you can have uh, in two of your gluteal muscles ማለት ነው. Okay, they are not in a combo form. So some people may opt for this. And the other thing is for people who do have adherence issues, this might be easier. Right? This might be easier. Just monthly injection on both gluteal areas and no need to take pure medications daily. So WHO has said that this could be an option ማለት ነው. In other countries, they use it mainly for like homeless people, for those with certain forms and severe forms of like substance use disorder ላላቸው ሰዎች ላይ it's an option. Great. So the final thing is, so stigma እንግዲህ when we talk about stigma, uh, we think we don't think stigma exists sometimes, but stigma exists. Usually it exists in three forms. So enacted stigma, that means others will act upon you or they will discriminate you, other people. They may discriminate you, your family members, your colleagues, the society. Right? And then there is a fear, there is anticipated stigma. There is a fear that people with HIV or those people who want to take PrEP have, okay? They feel like they are going to be discriminated by society, even sometimes by physicians. By the way, maybe you have seen in the wards, it's not uncommon, right? They come for like stroke or MI or some other complication and they will be taking ART, they will not tell you, right? They will not tell you. And some people even refuse to get tested because they just take, okay? So that they might be afraid of stigma and other things, okay? This is anticipated stigma. The other thing is internalized stigma. People will internalize the negative belief, stereotypes, prejudice of the society, and they will blame themselves. They will be ashamed, and they will feel guilty. Right? So still, the third one is the one that usually we'll see because relatively, the society's understanding is way better. And it's not uncommon to see in our practice that someone will get and they will tell us not to tell their partners, okay? So because we every time someone gets HIV, we tell them to bring their partners, right? But they don't. There is index case testing. We call it index test testing. It is very low. People do not bring their partners to be tested, okay? This is key. So, and this stigma is a barrier for patient care, and more importantly, I want to stress that it is also a barrier for prevention. People, because previously I've said that undetected means untransmittable. Right? So, the more patients you treat, or the more clients you treat, the more new cases you prevent. Okay, so stigma is a barrier for prevention, and it is also a barrier for PrEP use, and we have to work on this. To summarize the talk, we use a three-step approach to diagnose. Currently, we do have a semi-quantitative CD4 measure, and prevention is key and one of the strategic objectives of the national plan. And lenacapavir, the new injectable form, is closely almost 100% effective. And we say that maybe vaccination for HIV, doing trials and spending money for vaccination is not important from now on. Just availing lenacapavir is the best thing to do. The other thing is, the new thing, as I have said, is monthly injectable. Cabotegravir and relpegravir is an option for those people with suppressed viral load. Remember, it is not an initial therapy. It is only for those patients who have been taking oral ART and had a suppressed viral load. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, Doctor. It was an amazing presentation. And we can move on to the question and answer section. So if you can access the chat box, there are a few questions written there. So you
Yes,
can address some of
yes,
the relevant questions.
yes. Yeah, practical illness ላይ I will focus on practical things because
Yeah.
I have mentioned many trials. You can read the trials from New England and from Lancet, and one is from BMG, so you can access those.
Okay. Thank you.
So Dr. Getachew, my colleague, there is any እሺ vaccination. So vaccination have been tried for a very long time. Yeah, clinical trial እንትን ላይ ብታየው there are many vaccines tried, including in many African countries, uh, but most have failed. From now on, I don't think anyone would like to do research on vaccination because uh, even with vaccine, we don't get 100% አይደል? So with lenacapavir we got it, so it is enough ማለት ነው። ለፖስት ኤክስፖዠር prophylaxis. The next question, can lenacapavir be used as a post-exposure prophylaxis or not? The FDA is approved for two things. One, for salvage therapy for those patients who are on ART and who are for PrEP and for ቴራፒ ቴራፒም እንደ ሳልቬጅ ቴራፒ ነው ፎር ዞስ ሁ ሃቭ ቫይሮሎጂካሊ ፌይልድ ፎር አዘርስ ማለት ነው። ግን ያው አሁን ፖስት ኤክስፖዠር ፕሮፊላክሲስ ዩ ኒድ ይሄ እንግዲህ ስሎሊ ሪሊዝ የሚያደርግ ነው አይደል? ኢት ኢዝ ስሎ ሪሊዝ ሰስቴንድ ሪሊዝ ነው። ፎር ፖስት ኤክስፖዠር ዩ ኒድ ሜዲኬሽን ዛት አክትስ ቬሪ ፋስት ኦኬ ቬሪ ፋስት ሶ ከረንትሊ this it is not approved for FDA as far as I know for post-exposure prophylaxis, and it also doesn't make sense አይደል? It doesn't make sense, but it's not approved as far as I know. እሺ አክሰፕታንስ ሬት እንግዲህ ያው አክሰፕታንስ ሬት መገመት ይከብዳል። ችግሩ ምንድነው? ዲማንድ ክሬት ማድረግ ነው። አይ ቲንክ ዘ ሞስት ኢምፖርታንት ቻሌንጅ ዊ ጌት ኢዝ creating the demand. So we need to educate people. If you educate people, they will accept it, okay? And decreasing stigma, self stigma, and others will increase the acceptance rate. Unless you do acceptance rates like qualitative studies and real world studies, ያው መገመት የሶሳይቲው እንትን እንደዚህ ነው ብሎ መገመት ትንሽ it's going to be difficult. But if you educate them, tell them the pros and cons, people will accept it. It's very effective and easy. ማርክድ እንግዲህ ሎንግ ተርም ፌስ ፎር ስተዲ ይፈልጋል አይደል? እንትን ኢት ኒድስ ሎንግ ተርም ኢፌክት ኒድስ ፌስ ፎር ትራያል አይደል? ፌስ ፎር ስተዲ ይፈልጋል። በት ኢን ደ ትራያልስ there was no marked issue. But the problem is the possibility of HIV drug resistance. That is going to be the one. Otherwise, it is subcutaneous and no marketing is available ማለት ነው። ሌላኛው ኢሹ ምንድን ነው? ሰምዋን ኤች አይቪ ፖዚቲቭ አሚን እነዚህ ሜዲኬሽኖች እየወሰደ ብሬክ ስሩ ኤች አይቪ ፖዚቲቭ ከሆነ ሪስክ ኦፍ ሬዚስታንስ ኢዝ ሃየር ነው የሚሆነው። ዲያግኖሲስም ዲሌይድ ሊሆን ይችላል። ሌላኛው ደግሞ ዘ አዘር ቲንግ ኢዝ ኢፍ ዩ ጊቭ ኢት ፎር ሰምዋን ሁ ኢዝ ኤች አይቪ ፖዚቲቭ ዩ አር ትሪቲንግ ሰብ ኦፕቲማሊ እንደማለት ነው እንጂ ሎንግ ተርም ሴፍቲ ፕሮፋይል እንግዲህ ኢት ኢዝ ሰምቲንግ ዛት ዊ ሃቭ ቱ ሲ ኢን ዘ ካሚንግ ዲኬድስ አይደል? እሺ ኦኬ ካቦትግራቪር ኢንጀክሽን ዋት ኢዝ ሞስት ኮመን ካብ እሺ ሶ ኢን ኢት ኢዝ ጊቭን አስ ኤ ፓይለት ኢን ሰም ሄልዝ ሴንተርስ ዘ ካብላ ኦር ዘ ካቦትግራቪር ኢንጀክሽን ኤንድ ዘ ፔን ኢዝ most important side effects they get, and you may get abscess in the injection site and like that. So the pain is the most important and the most common side effects that the patients complain. Some even like discontinue after the first or the second. Usually they try the second because they think it gets better. So currently, as far as what I saw, is the injection site pain is very severe. Patch number affect the result first response? I don't understand that question. Does the patch number affect the result of the first response? I don't understand. Yeah, false positive ሊኖር ይችላል አይደል? That's why we do test 2 and test 3. እሺ ያ እንግዲህ ማይነር ሳይድ ኢፌክትስ are seen actually, and some concerns like immune mediated abnormalities, immune mediated responses are concerns. Can we consider sexual promiscuity as upcoming challenge to give long acting injection? እንግዲህ ቻሌንጅ እንዳልነው ያው the biggest challenge is for people not to come አይደል? Not to come to the health facility to take አይደል? ስቲግማው እና we have to teach people that they have to come. As physicians, our job is just to prevent infection አይደል? So we have to as much as possible recruit many patients ማለት ነው when it comes to our country. Do we have to do 2 or more tests if a patient is positive using 2-step immunoassay to determine the presence? By the way, you have to know that the tests that all the 3 tests they are combined. They are 4th generation, so they combine antibody and antigen tests. They are 4th generation. They combine both antigen and the antibodies. እንግዲህ ሚሲንግ እንትን አድሄራንስ ኢዝ አን ኢሹ። አሁን ኤቭሪ 2 መንዝስ ኦር ኤቭሪ 6 መንዝስ ነው ተብሎ አድሄራንስን ዩካናት ጋራንቲ በት ያው ቴስት እያደረግን ኢፍ ዘ ፔሸንት ቴስትስ ኔጋቲቭ ኤንድ ክሊር የሆነ ኮንታክት ከሌለው ዊ ካን ኮንቲኒው ዘ ሜዲኬሽን። ያው ግን ቢፎር ኢች ኢንጀክሽን ዘ ፔሸንት ሃዝ ቱ ቢ ቴስትድ። ሚስ ያደረገ ፔሸንት በተለይ ቴስት መደረግ አለበት። ኢን አወር ካንትሪ ኦር ደብሊው ኤች ኦ ሪኮመንድስ ዘ P24 antigen antibody or 4th generation rapid test. In the US, for example, they do even RNA quantification for diagnosis. We don't use that here. ግልጽ ነው አይደል? they use RNA for diagnosis. የሲዲሲ ጋይድላይን ላይ ብታይ እንደዛ አለ። Okay. So I think in the studies effective contraception እንዲወስዱ ተብሎ ነበር, but there were exposure for pregnant women and no much safety concern was observed. You can review the purpose study, the purpose trial. the purpose one ማለት ነው that is for females. The purpose two is for MSM and transgender and others. I think ሌሎች ጥያቄዎች አሉ maybe I don't know.
Yeah. So I think
ዋይንድ አፕ ብናደርግ ይሻላል መሰለኝ
yeah. Thank you very
እና
much.
maybe if you want if you have further question you can telegram me or send me emails and others the slide maybe
Yeah.
I will share it and you can share the slide. I will review few things and then I will share.
Okay. And we can share
Thank
it on our Telegram channel. Yeah. So thank you very much for your insightful presentation, Doctor, and for sharing your expertise with us today. So on behalf of Blue Hills Ethiopia and all our participants, we would love to thank you for taking the time to present on Blue Hills virtual seminars, and we hope to meet you in future sessions with other related topics as well. If you have anything to add at last, I can give you the stage one more time, and we can end the session.
Okay, yeah. Maybe one thing I think I don't know the profession of most of the attendees. If for the physicians, what I recommend is usually እንግዲህ ART ለብቻ ክፍል ስላለ there is a separate class in ART እና most physicians who don't work in the ART room, those who work in the wards or OPDs do not encounter like the medications and what's new and like that. So I recommend like going to the ART clinic, seeing the medications that are available, and then discuss with the providers there. Okay, I learned a lot from going to people who work there than the conventional way ማለት ነው. So go and go around the ART room ማለት ነው. Okay, thank you so much. Have a
No,
great day.
thank you, Doctor. Good night.